Imagine walking down a pristine city street. The sidewalks are spotless, free from any litter or debris. The air is fresh, and there's a sense of calm and order. You can hear the distant hum of traffic, but it's not overwhelming. Instead, it adds to the rhythm of the city. Buildings gleam with fresh paint, their facades reflecting the sunlight. Each structure seems to tell a story of care and attention. The architecture is not just functional but also aesthetically pleasing, contributing to the overall beauty of the street. Flower boxes burst with colorful blooms, adding splashes of red, yellow, and purple to the scene. These flowers are meticulously cared for, and their presence brings a touch of nature into the urban environment. They invite bees and butterflies, creating a small ecosystem in the heart of the city. People smile and greet each other as they pass. There's a sense of community and friendliness. Strangers exchange nods and small talk, creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere. It feels like a place where people care about each other and their surroundings. The air feels charged with a sense of safety and optimism. The bright atmosphere lifts your spirits and you feel a sense of belonging. This street is not just a place to walk through, it's a place to live, to enjoy, and to be part of a community. Now picture a different street. Graffiti mars the walls, not as art but as a sign of neglect. The once vibrant colors are now faded and peeling, telling a story of abandonment and disrepair. Litter spills from overflowing trash cans, scattering across the sidewalk. The smell of decay hangs in the air, and the sight of garbage is a constant reminder of neglect. It's a stark contrast to the pristine street we imagined earlier. Broken windows gape from abandoned buildings, their shattered glass reflecting a history of vandalism and disuse. These structures stand as silent witnesses to a time when the street was alive and thriving. People hurry along, avoiding eye contact. There's a sense of urgency and unease. The lack of interaction creates an atmosphere of isolation and distrust. It feels like everyone is just trying to get through, rather than being part of a community. This street feels different. It feels unsafe, forgotten, and hopeless. The air is heavy with a sense of despair, and the environment reflects the struggles of those who live here. It's a place where hope seems to have faded away. These two streets illustrate a powerful idea: our environment shapes our behavior. The clean, well-maintained street fosters a sense of pride and community, while the neglected street breeds isolation and despair. A well-maintained environment can foster positive social norms. It encourages people to take care of their surroundings and each other. It creates a space where positive interactions are the norm, and where people feel safe and valued. A neglected environment can invite crime and disorder. It sends a message that no one cares and that anything goes. It becomes a breeding ground for negative behaviors and a place where people feel disconnected and unsafe. In 1982, social scientists James Q. Wilson and George Kelling introduced the broken windows theory. This theory emerged during a time when many urban areas in the United States were experiencing significant social and economic challenges. The cities were grappling with high crime rates, economic downturns, and a general sense of disorder that seemed to permeate the streets. They argued that visible signs of crime and disorder, like graffiti or abandoned cars, create an environment that encourages further crime. According to their theory, these small signs of neglect and disorder act as signals to the community. They suggest that the area is not monitored or cared for, which can lead to an escalation in criminal activities. Their theory was simple: a single broken window, left unrepaired, sends a message. This message is not just about the physical state of the window, but about the social fabric of the community. It implies that if minor issues are not addressed, larger problems will inevitably follow. The message: no one cares. This perception of neglect can have a profound psychological impact on residents and visitors alike. It can lead to a sense of hopelessness and resignation, where people feel that their efforts to improve their surroundings are futile. This lack of care invites further vandalism. When people see that minor acts of vandalism go unaddressed, they may feel emboldened to commit more serious crimes. The initial broken window or graffiti tag can snowball into a series of escalating offenses. Soon, more windows are broken. The cycle of decay continues, with each new act of vandalism reinforcing the idea that the area is lawless and unprotected. This can lead to a rapid decline in the quality of life for residents. The sense of lawlessness spreads. As more people perceive the area as unsafe, they may choose to avoid it, leading to decreased foot traffic and economic activity. Businesses may close, and property values can plummet, further contributing to the cycle of decline. Wilson and Kelling compared this to a contagious disease. Just as a disease can spread from person to person, disorder can spread from one part of a neighborhood to another. This metaphor highlights the insidious nature of urban decay and the importance of addressing it promptly. Disorder spreads, infecting the social fabric of a neighborhood. The community's sense of pride and ownership can erode, leading to a vicious cycle where neglect begets more neglect. This can have long-term consequences for the social cohesion and overall well-being of the area. Their theory had a profound impact on law enforcement and urban planning. It led to new strategies focused on maintaining order and addressing minor offenses before they could escalate. By fixing broken windows and cleaning up graffiti, cities aimed to restore a sense of order and prevent the spread of urban decay. In 1993, researchers at Stanford University designed a clever experiment to test the broken windows theory. They created two identical alleys. One was clean and orderly, the other was littered with trash and spray-painted with graffiti. The researchers then observed people passing by. They found that people were more likely to litter in the already littered alley. They were even more likely to steal an envelope left protruding from a mailbox in the disordered alley. The experiment provided compelling evidence for the broken windows theory. Disorder, even seemingly minor, can indeed encourage antisocial behavior. Why does disorder have such a powerful effect on our behavior? This question has intrigued psychologists and sociologists for decades. The presence of disorder in our environment, whether it's litter on the streets, graffiti on the walls, or broken windows, seems to trigger a cascade of negative behaviors. But what is it about disorder that influences us so profoundly? Psychologists point to several factors. They have conducted numerous studies and experiments to understand the underlying mechanisms. These factors can be broadly categorized into social cues, diffusion of responsibility, and behavioral contagion. Social cues. We look to our environment for cues about how to behave. When we see a clean and orderly environment, we are more likely to follow the rules and behave in a socially acceptable manner. Conversely, when we see disorder, it sends a signal that the usual rules don't apply. A littered street signals that littering is acceptable. This phenomenon is known as the broken windows theory, which suggests that visible signs of disorder and neglect create an environment that encourages further disorder and even criminal behavior. Diffusion of responsibility. In a disordered environment, we feel less personal responsibility. When we see trash on the ground, we might think, someone else will clean it up. This mindset leads to a lack of individual accountability, perpetuating the cycle of disorder. Someone else will clean it up, we think. This diffusion of responsibility is particularly strong in crowded urban areas, where the presence of many people makes it easy to assume that someone else will take action. Behavioral contagion disorder can be contagious. When we see others engaging in negative behaviors like littering or vandalism, we are more likely to mimic those actions. This is because we often look to others to determine what is acceptable behavior. When we see others behaving badly, we are more likely to do the same. This creates a feedback loop where disorder begets more disorder, leading to a deteriorating environment. These psychological factors help explain why even small acts of vandalism or neglect can have a snowball effect, leading to more serious crime. Understanding the psychology of disorder is crucial for developing strategies to create and maintain orderly, safe, and thriving communities. In the 1990s, New York City was grappling with high crime rates. Inspired by the broken windows theory, Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Police Commissioner William Bratton implemented a zero-tolerance policy. They cracked down on minor offenses like fare evasion and graffiti. They removed abandoned cars and cleaned up litter. The results were dramatic. Crime rates plummeted. While the success of New York's approach is still debated, it demonstrated the potential of environmental design to influence behavior and reduce crime. The broken windows theory is not without its critics. Some argue that it leads to over-policing of minor offenses, particularly in disadvantaged communities. Others question whether it addresses the root causes of crime, such as poverty and inequality. Critics also point out that correlation does not equal causation. Did cleaning up neighborhoods actually reduce crime, or were other factors at play? These are important questions. While the broken windows theory provides valuable insights, it is essential to consider its limitations and potential unintended consequences. The broken windows theory goes beyond crime prevention. It speaks to the importance of maintaining order in all aspects of our lives. Think about a well-maintained park versus a neglected one, a clean and organized workplace versus a chaotic one, a classroom where students respect the space versus one where they don't. In each case, the environment sends a message that influences our behavior. A well-maintained environment fosters a sense of pride, responsibility, and community. It encourages us to act in ways that maintain that order. It's crucial to remember that the impact of our environment is not always straightforward. Context matters. What constitutes disorder in one context might be perfectly acceptable in another. For instance, a bustling open-air market might have a vibrant energy that feels full of life, even if it doesn't conform to strict notions of orderliness. We need to be mindful of cultural differences and avoid imposing a single standard of order on every environment. The broken windows theory reminds us that we are not passive bystanders in our environments. We shape them, and they shape us. By taking ownership of our surroundings, we can create spaces that foster positive social norms and a sense of shared responsibility. This means taking simple actions like picking up litter, reporting graffiti, and maintaining our own spaces. It means advocating for clean and safe streets, parks, and public spaces. By creating environments that reflect our values and aspirations, we can help create a more just, equitable, and beautiful world.